Hi, Spots and Cheap Pops, you're on the air.
Hi, Spots and Cheap Pops, ladies and gentlemen, Vadi Dottie, Silicon Steve Valley. We're here talking the very best in pro wrestling and the continuing saga of the EVPs, your absolute favorite tag team of all time. Continuing their reign of terror as after taking out the owner and president Tony Khan last week, in his own hometown, Kenny Omega announces that he is going to be coming back as soon as he can, and how dangerous it will be for him to wrestle. Really did a great job with putting that over. I thought he cut a good promo. First, Kazuchika Okada interrupts Kenny, and everyone knows the legendary battles that they had. And to me, the greatest match I ever saw was Kenny Omega and Okada in June of 2018. And as Okada is distracting, in comes Jungle Jerk-Off, Jack Perry, hacks Kenny from behind. The Bucks come out like they're going to try to calm him down, which I don't think anyone bought for a second. They give Kenny an EVP trigger, and they beat him down, and then he has to get carted off. But luckily, our boys FTR came to the original rescue. We thought FTR was going to be done with the Bucks. No. The blood feud is here. And so now you have FTR trying to come to the aid of Kenny Omega. Well, I guess I'll be playing the part of CM Punk in this feud.
100%.
And now you have but then the Bucks attack them once again, including Matt Jackson, who he and Kenny, if you know their story, very, very close. And Matt Jackson said, sorry, Kenny, we got to change the world. And Kenny, I thought, did a great job selling this. And then they drop him right on his stomach one more time. And the Elite stand tall for the second straight week. And they are now in the midst of one hell of a storyline, whether you like it or not. It's definitely, I think, going to stir a lot of emotion, and it's one of the best stories they've had in a while. But that's me. Your thoughts on your favorite EVPs and this episode of Dynamite?
The episode of Dynamite and my thoughts on the EVPs, I don't know if they'd be mutually, exclusive, if you will, but like basically, when you started the show showing Tony Khan in front of the Jaguars, from the Jaguars office in Jacksonville, and then all of a sudden things get glitchy, and then the EVPs take over, literally take over in the production truck, and they are setting the tone for the entire show, obviously. And you'd have to see the writing on the wall in terms of Kenny being there and something monumental happening, right? So, as we got to that segment with Kenny, I got to say that probably was my favorite Kenny Omega promo in AEW. And really, what it came down to, there was a different voice there. Like, I understand he had the glasses, kind of like the cleaner, but it wasn't quite the cleaner to me. He looked the part, man. He looked like the top guy, honestly. The suit, the glasses, the bass in his voice, where he was getting serious. It was just one of those better works on the mic for me. And I was like, man, this is good stuff. I didn't realize immediately that Okada would come out, but of course, there you go. Kenny sets the table in terms of looking down the road in a few months when I'm better. After he, went through the pain to tell you about his diverticulitis and explain what he went through, what he's facing, how he could actually die from it, and if anybody knows anything about it, which most wrestling fans kind of lived vicariously through Brock Lesnar when we heard about this and understand how serious it is. Now we're basically shining this light on Kenny, and here he is. And one of the coolest parts of that promo was him looking into the camera and explaining, you forgot that I also am an EVP. So here he has the same power, can be that guy who basically helps Tony Khan, of all people, who needs it more than anybody else on the planet at this point, right? So Kenny's a good, and if not probably the best figure to put in front of Tony Khan and allow him to go and assemble his army against the EVP and the Elite, right? And when Okada came out, Kenny goes and challenges him in the future, and you could almost smell and sense that little scapegoat somewhere in the building, and then there he was, gets the advantage on Omega, and then Okada and Jack Perry go and really, do some damage to Omega, of course.
Omega did a good job, though. He looked in great shape when he did work a little bit with Perry, gave him that dragon suplex and all that. So Kenny had a little bit of fire to him, too, which you also like to see.
Yeah. Like, let's put it this way. I know he was sick, but, like, you compare this versus the promo he did with Jericho. Like, it almost felt like, and I'm not even disparaging Kenny. It was just, I would have been like, ugh, what is this too? You know what I mean? Like, what am I dealing with? But here, he was the man. And I never really sensed that completely like that. Usually there's Callus there. Usually it's the Bucks, whatever. No, this time it was him. And he was basically sticking his neck out and letting the EVPs, other than him, know, like, hey, you know what? I'm going to be around too. And I'm going to call some shots. So I do really admire this aspect of it for sure. It was a nice sort of bonus to see FTR come out there and come to his aid, because all right, that sort of writes itself. And you sort of half jokingly said he plays the part of CM Punk. Yeah, absolutely. This is where they're going with this. And I don't know if Kenny was laying like little building blocks in his Twitch broadcast or what, but it was like he's been sort of kind of going against the Bucks on certain things and shoot manners, and then now especially kayfabe. So this is really refreshing, and putting FTR with him, that's a pretty good threesome that you got going. And I mean, I don't know who else you might want to consider to go in a line with Kenny and or them. It's a little bit early. I hope it's something more. Honestly, I'll say it. I hope it's something more than Kota Ibushi. I'd like to see something, I don't know. I don't want to say like a Scott Norton type, like from NWO, but some badass that can just back them up until Kenny's fully, healed, along with FTR. Wardlow, I guess, might be that guy. Who knows? But
maybe Hangman does come back as a babyface. I was always under the impression eventually he's going to side with the Bucks in this situation, but maybe Hangman comes back and is that he would make the most sense. And then maybe he turns on Kenny when Kenny comes back. I don't know. I'm not sure, but they have options. And what's cool is, which we haven't seen about an AEW storyline in a while, they have some options and have us guessing of where they're going. And to your point, FTR being a part of this is so necessary. We all thought they was going to be the Motor City Machine Guns or whatever the hell they're called.
Yep.
Young Bucks Midwest, Young Bucks East. We all thought it was going to be those guys. And no disrespect, they both had phenomenal single careers in TNA. So God bless both of those guys.
Yeah.
But, that's who they came up with the Bucks. There's always going to be those comparisons. They have a big rivalry with the Bucks. So we were under the impression they were going to bring in the Guns and they would be the ones that they go after the Bucks first. No. We're getting the blood feud with FTR, exactly what we want and what we were begging for. And FTR is still in. Now, look, I've seen Tony fuck up things before when it looks like they were going in the right direction, and nope. So he might still, but at least early, we were wrong when we were killing Tony. Oh, FTR is not going to be around anymore. Pleasantly surprising, Vladi Dottie, surprising me. And I was really excited to see how this storyline is progressing. And I actually felt for Kenny. A fan of me was there for a second. Because you know me, I've always had great affinity for Kenny Omega since 2016.
Yeah.
So from a guy that's been following him that long, I know there's going to be some people on the internet. Well, I found him when he was in DDT. When I guess he got the great Harpo finger fuck moniker from Mr. Cornette with that hair. But the fact is, though, is I love Kenny. And I think when he's right, he's one of the best, if not the top 3 or 4 wrestlers on the planet. And I just like, too, they're not wasting time. Okada Omega, get it done right now. Fuck it. And maybe, hopefully, Kenny can be back for All In. And that's a match you have. Okada, Omega at All In. And maybe I'm not sure who Ospreay's going to be with yet, but I mean, they need to start playing their major chips. Stop the bullshit with the trios matches that don't mean anything.
Yeah.
But overall, I really love this spot. I like the angle, and I love how Dynamite went right into Rampage again. When Dynamite goes right into
I was just going to say that.
it makes me watch Rampage. I don't usually go out of my way to watch Rampage. If you put it on the third hour and maybe make it a little different, they have a little bit more adult themes and things of that nature, maybe more blood. This could be a big thing, and you're going to get more eyes on your product. And look, you're doing it anyway. Just shoot it live. Just do it live. And then you don't have to worry. You know,
exactly.
And you're done. So hopefully that's because it's happened. I think second or third time it's happened recently. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for watching High Spots and Cheap Pops. For Vladi Dottie, this is Silicon Steve Alley. Hit the subscribe button and let us know what you think. Thank you for watching, and here endeth the lesson.